everybody. This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. There's been a whole bunch of news articles that have been sent to me and that I've found regarding these massive cracks that have opened up in the earth. And I've been tallying them up and just saving them because I really wasn't ready to do a video. But as you see right here, there was another massive one that opened up in Kenya just this last month in April of 2018. But then also in New Zealand, in the Rotorua area, there was another massive crack that opened up. So again, May of 2018. And these cracks are absolutely huge. You'll see sites like Snopes and other ones try to debunk this and just say that these are normal occurrence. They're just due to heavy rainfall and things of that nature. But when you actually get into these articles, the geologists are going out there to study these because they're not really quite sure what's happening. In fact, even with the ones that have happened in Kenya, and I've only showed you one of them, they're actually saying that the continent is splitting apart, and that could actually be one of the reasons. So, I don't know, take your pick. Heavy rainfall or the continent is splitting apart. Seems like a pretty diverse opinion between quote-unquote experts. And so here's some footage of the other crack that opened up in Africa. This was in Northern Cape around January of 2017, and these are near a mile or more long. And at its widest point, some of these get near a football field long or more. Actually, one I'll show you in Wyoming that happened, I believe, over a year ago was several football fields long. But again, this is happening all around the world. Again, these two ones here in Africa happen within a year of each other. But it's not just limited to that, as I'll show you in some of these other videos. Here's one that had a lot of headlines several years back. This was around fall time in 2014, but Mexico had this really stunning crack that went through the land here. And again, you'll find lots of sites trying to debunk this and just say, oh, this is because of heavy rains, but it still is attracting lots of geologists. And you get so many different opinions on exactly why this has happened. And they don't really bring in the fact that this is a worldwide phenomenon, that this is not an isolated incident. There's another one in Arizona. I believe this one was also around the fall of 2014, but I have found a multitude of articles that say that this crack is getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the way up through today, 2018. And then the biggest one that I think we've seen in terms of publicity is the one that happened in Wyoming. So you all probably remember these images. Again, it was all over the news. This was a massive, massive crack. And it was east of Yellowstone, so a lot of people had concerns that the supervolcano was going to blow. And scientists dismissed it, saying, don't worry, this has absolutely no relationship to Yellowstone. But we see articles like these, where these geysers and the activity beneath Yellowstone are increasing, and scientists don't really have an answer. Just all these phenomenon that are going on in the earth, they just continue to increase in frequency and intensity. Just like it says the birth pangs, they increase in frequency and intensity. And indeed, the Bible says that there would be earthquakes in diverse places. And I think these earth phenomenons, whether it be these large cracks in the earth or these massive sinkholes like this one that you see in Florida, this was recent as well, May 2018. Again, really no explanation as to why these are happening. I think it's all attributed to the end times. The earth is unstable, at least from a spiritual perspective. I've mentioned this in maybe a video or two in the past, but referring to Revelation 12, 7 through 9, it says, there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon against the angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon, which is Satan, that old serpent, which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. That's the King James Version. You actually have some other versions just say to. And if you look at the Greek word there, it can be translated as to or into. I just think it's very interesting as we look at the Bible and we think about Sheol and the abyss and the earth, and this verse talking about into the earth, it's quite possible that there's something spiritual going on beneath the earth, and that it's trying to rise up in this time period. And all these volcanic eruptions and earth fissures and cracks and sinkholes is perhaps part of this spiritual war. It's approaching the time when the restrainer will move aside, and we really get into that time period known as the end times, the tribulation, the great tribulation. Now, that's from the spiritual perspective. From a secular perspective, I don't think we're ever really going to know what's going on here. I've done interviews with scientist John Casey, who said this is all due to the fact that the Earth is going into a 206-year solar cycle, and every time we get to the bottom of this solar cycle, we see these massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and Earth instability. And he predicted this over a decade ago, and it's happening now. Even before these things really started to happen, he was making these predictions, and he was spot on. So you have one possibility is this is in relation to the sun somehow. Some people are saying that this is due to polar shift. You got some people saying this is climate change. You got some people saying, oh geez, any multitude of things. Weather manipulation or energy weapons. I mean, you're really just not going to know. But we definitely know, regardless of how it's occurring, the timing in which it is occurring in relation to a lot of these world events, like Middle East peace, like the Korean peace, the false peace. It's actually a video that I'm working on right now for you all, and will hopefully deliver to you by, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. The timing is impeccable. So regardless of the reason why this is happening, it really is inferring that these are all signs of the times. Appreciate your comments. Looking forward to them. This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. See ya.